Today we'll learn how we can create a React web application using ChatGPT. I have taken this web page as a reference because it works with APIs. So here you can see every character. We have some API data for each of the characters and the details are shown over here. So what we'll be doing is using ChatGPT, we'll be trying to create closest possible match without writing a single line of code manually. So we'll be just giving prompts to ChatGPT and we'll try to come up with a layout. And here we'll be creating one additional page as well, like clicking on a character will display the details of that character as well, which is returned by the API. So what we'll do now is we'll head over to ChatGPT, and the first thing that we'll do is we'll be giving a prompt, create a single page application in React.js which fetches the data from the following API, where n varies from 1 to 6. So the first step is try to get a boilerplate application. You don't have to get in a single prompt everything running perfectly. You just build it step by step by giving one prompt at a time and ensuring the next iteration is better than the previous one. So here what we are trying to say, we are saying that we need to create two pages or two views. The main view should just display the following: name and image, order the items by name, search feature to filter by name, and a link to name which will take the user to detail view, which is a model window in step number 2. And here in step number 2, we are saying the detail view will show all the data of a name mentioned in step number 1 retrieved from the API. Once that's given, ChatGPT will straightforward say that creating a full React.js single page application is a complex task and cannot be fully provided here due to its length. That's fine. We are okay with that. But it still starts with the boilerplate. The first step is it makes use of npx create react app and then the name of the app. So if I try doing this over here in my Visual Studio Code, the only prerequisite is that you should have Node.js installed. If not, you can visit this website and download and install Node.js. Once that's done over here, you can go and copy this command npx create react app and then the name of the app as Rick and Morty Spa. You'll also notice that it suggests after this has been done, you go into the directory and run npm start. This is going to launch the default React application that gets created using the selected command. Over here, I would like to show what all ChatGPT has done for us. So after this, the next step is installing React Router DOM. Okay, and then this is the default app.js file that we will be overwriting, and here we have the main view and then we have the detail view. So all we need to do is just copy paste these codes in our directory which we will be creating and then run this application to get a bare bone of the application in a working condition. So here it has started creating the default React application using the above command. So the default app is now created. Let's go into this directory, Rick and Morty Spa, and run the npm start command. So this is going to launch the default application that we just created. And you can see it in the browser now with a default React logo and a link to learn React. Let's close this now and go back to our editor. Here I'll be deleting this and we'll be opening this default application. You can see the src directory where the app.js file resides. What we'll do now is we'll go back to our ChatGPT window. The next step is to install this React Router DOM package. Over here, we'll be opening up the terminal again and we'll be writing this command. That's done now. The next step is to replace the code in app.js file with the one that ChatGPT has provided us. And over here, we'll be doing that. Now you can see we also have to create two files, main view and detail view. Let's do that as well. So here we have the code for mainview.js. Just copy it and inside the source directory, create a new file, call it as mainview.js and paste the code that we have. Then similarly, copy the code for detailview.js. Here, let's correct the name, main view, and then we'll have the detailview.js. Now we have these files now, main view and detail view. So mainview.js is over here and detailview.js. Now, one thing you'll notice when I open up mainview.js is that it's only fetching one character, and we need to iterate through n number of characters. In this case, I am taking 6 or 10 as an example to loop through. So what we have done now is, if you scroll down over here, I'm asking ChatGPT in mainview.js, please make use of some technique which fetches all 6 characters. So I'm leaving it to the ChatGPT AI to decide what logic goes behind this, and it comes up with this for loop where it says fetch data for 1 to 6 characters. So let's copy this piece now, and over here, instead of sample fetch for 1, we'll be copying this now from this point to this point, and we'll be replacing the use effect method over here. That's done now. So here you can see that it's going to fetch 6 characters and then it will display it. So now that we have created this, let's go ahead and run it and see it in action, how this app is now looking. So when I ran this application using npm start, you can see this is how the page is now rendering. So you have the image of the character and the name of the character. The name is now a hyperlink. If you click on this, it will kind of open up the details view. Now, one thing to note over here, the default router installation that we did using the command npm install react router DOM was not working. So what we did, we asked ChatGPT and it kind of suggested us to uninstall react router DOM and install a specific version over here. That we did, and after that the app is up and running, as you can see over here. So the next step now, what we want is, even if I check over here, the search is working fine. So the next step is to make it a bit more stylish. So let's go ahead and try doing that. Along with that, we also want to display all the details of the API on the details page for a given character. Over here, you can see I have copied one such example and gave it to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to update the details view so that it kind of prints all the data associated for that particular character in the API response. So now what we'll do is we'll just copy this code over here and we'll go to details view. We'll simply override the details view over here, and in browser, if I now click on any name, you can see the details is now appearing: status, species, type, gender, origin, location, episode URL, created date. Next, what we want to do is make it a bit more stylish. So I just gave this prompt. That's awesome. Now make the UI a bit more sassy. Ensure that the results are displayed in a 3x3 grid-like structure, and the active grid should have a mouse over effect. This needs to be done on mainview.js. Similarly, make the detailsview.js sassy as well. So what it does is it goes in and creates a CSS file. It calls it as mainview.css. So let's copy this mainview.css, go to our src, right click, create a file, mainview.css. Inside this, I'll just paste this code. Okay, and the next step is I'll scroll down, and here it says import the CSS file in your mainview.js. So we'll import the file over here in our mainview.js. Over here, I'll paste this line, save it, and let's go back to our main view. And what we'll do next is, after the CSS has been created, we'll have to update our view as well. So I'll copy this piece of code and update our mainview.js. So from return line number 29 all the way to 55, I'll paste this, save it. Now it says link is not defined. Okay, so here we'll copy this line and we'll update our main view.js with this as well. Now you can see it's showing the characters in a 3 by 3, and whenever I'm hovering on any of the characters or cards, it's kind of showing me or highlighting it, hovering it. So that's done. Now let's go to the details view as well and do the same. So here, once we are done with the main view, we'll head over to detailview.js. Here it's suggesting us to create a CSS file called detailview.css. So let's do that. I'll create a new file, detailview.css. Over here, I'll paste this CSS code, and again, I'll have to go to detailview.js and refer this CSS file now. For reference, what we'll do is we'll take the same import statement from here, import mainview.css, and we'll put it over here. Instead of main view, we'll just copy the detailview.css and put it over here. That's done. Let's go to a specific character and see it over here. And now we'll also have to update the detail view. So we'll copy this. So here you'll note that the detail view was not provided. So I have to kind of prompt again, and this time it gave me the updated code for detail view, which I'll be replacing over here now. I will copy the import link from the main view and put it over here. So that's done. Let's go to our React view now, and here you can see it has also formatted this card. After this, the next step that we will take is, so here what I'm trying to say, character card, that was a class in mainview.js. So if I open up mainview.js file now, you'll notice in our view over here, we are making use of a character card class. So this is the character card class that we have, and what we are trying to say, character card make this exactly as per the size of the image in mainview.js. So it has kind of updated the CSS now. We'll copy the same CSS again and we'll update our mainview.css over here. Let's go back to our main view, and here you'll notice the boxes are now aligned properly over here. Along with this, the next step that I have asked ChatGPT to do is, in mainview.js, make the image as the background, and name and gender should appear at the bottom of the card or one below the other. So what it does is it adds some more style. We'll copy this and we'll be pasting it over here or updating our mainview.css. You will notice that the background image URL is having some issues, and if I scroll down a bit, I found the error and I'm saying that the images are not getting displayed at all. So it kind of updates it again. So we'll just copy this now, character card before, and we'll update our character card before class over here. Save this, and again it says your image URL over here. So I kind of asked it to update it so that, because this image that we are mentioning over here is actually coming from the API. So putting it in mainview.css is not feasible. So what we are doing now is we are updating our JSX. So let's copy this piece of code and go to mainview.js, and here I'll be simply pasting it. Still, our mainview.css is having this image URL. So what next? We'll be updating our mainview.css with this set of instructions. So we'll be updating these two classes, character card and character card before. Let's copy this and let me expand this up. So we have this character hover which will move up, and then we have to replace these two with the updated version that we received from ChatGPT. Now let's go back and put it in the same mode. Here you can see that the cards are now coming up properly. The gender is also appearing over here, and we have the name as well coming on top. Next, what we are trying to do is ensure the search feature includes the following data points for search. So we are now trying to add more controls for search purposes. So we are saying we should have name, gender should be a drop down, and then a search button. When clicked, searches or filters the result. So it says, okay, let's go ahead and do that. So it provides me this piece of code, and over here you'll notice that this handle search function is there, where we are filtering the criteria, and then we have this drop down created for us, so let's go and copy it, go to our main view.js file now, update this piece of code one more time, and this time when we go back, we'll notice that gender drop down is also coming up, name is also coming up, and search button is also there. The next thing that we are trying to do now is the filter should be a combination of name and gender. So if anyone is given, the output should reflect that. So based on that, it has modified the code now. If I copy and paste this piece now over here, I can go back and see gender is coming up. So if I select female and click on search, only female characters are appearing, as you can see. And if I go to male and click on search, only male characters are coming up. Now, that's all good. The next step that we are taking now is give some animation effect to text box, drop down, and search button when mouse is hovered, as well as when they do not have focus. So for that, in main view.css, it has created these additional properties. Let's copy these and put over here in main view.css at the end, or at line number 60 in this case. And let me see. So now if you hover on search name, you can see the highlight is coming up. Similarly on all genders and search. So this animated effect, it's focusing, popping out basically. So that is also done. Okay. Next step, provide some spacing between these controls and increase their height. Again, we have the CSS and we copy this transition from this point to this point, and we just update this piece of code. Let's see. So we have these spacing now, but the height is not looking that good. We can tweak it to our liking, but as we said, we won't be making any code changes as such or writing any code. So we'll stick with this for a moment and scroll down. The height should be equal when compared to each other. So it kind of gives me this piece of code to replace with the previous one. We do that and just copy it over here and paste it. Okay, let's copy this. And in our main view.css, let's paste this. And so I don't see much difference over here, but the search and these drop downs are of same size, but the text box is not. So let's leave that for a moment. And here I'm trying to make the text box height equal to the drop down and the edges of the text box rounded. So based on that, it is giving me this updated piece of CSS. And if I try, let's see, the edges at least should get rounded, if not the height. So here you can see the text box edges are now rounded instead of sharp ones, and the gender and search all are having the round corners now. So that is taken care of. Let's move ahead now. And here I'm trying to say the text box should have a search icon appended to it, and the search button color should be light blue with search icon at the end. So it tries to come up with few updates, like you need to have this React icons installed. So it gives me this option, and I can just go in and take this piece of code, update our main view.js. So let's do that and see what exactly we are getting. So here it says React icons FA. So that means we need to go back to our PowerShell, and here in this directory, let's go to this directory, and over here let's install npm react icons. So I'll be just writing npm install react icons, and once that's done, okay, so this is done now. Let's close this, and over here you can see it has provided me the icon, and the search is also there. Gender is, everything is coming up. If I expand this, this is how it is appearing right now. But what we need is, if you look at the next prompt that we have provided, it says that, okay, you have taken the code, now update the css as well with this piece of information, style for the search button. So let's copy this and split the screen now. Go to mainview.css. After line number 91, I'll paste this piece of code, and over here, if I now go, you see the search button, it has this light blue color. So, and when I hover, the animation kicks in. But this search icon, I want now to be part of the search button itself. So the next instruction that we are sharing with, I said that module was not found, so it suggests me, okay, you need to import this thing, and you also need to install react icons. So that we did. And here I'm saying the fa search, that was the class, should be part of the search button itself. It should not be a separate icon, and for that it has updated the code base now. And over here you can see the button that we had is now part of the div. So just copy this return statement all the way to main view and replace the same over here. So from line 49 to line number 96, I can just paste it over here, and it compiled. If I go here, now you see the search icon is now part of the button. We have the name, we have gender, and the search icon. Next instruction that we provided was this: the following should also be taken care of. The search button should appear in the same line as with the drop-down. When searching, a model pop-up should appear showing total number of matches, and the font and style used on name and gender should be more prominent. The link should not be there, as the whole card is clickable. So what happened when I gave this prompt, it did some changes. It kind of removed the link altogether, so the details view was not accessible. So what we'll do is we'll skip this piece of information that was provided by ChatGPT, and we'll move on to the next one. So we are not going to make use of model. We'll be actually using some other technique to display the number of search results instead of model. So here we'll be skipping down to the next piece of instruction. So I said that remove the model, just display a text on top showing the total match found, and disappear it after 10 seconds. So kind of an animation effect I want over there. So what it does is it comes with this piece of code, and here you'll notice that it introduces this line of code which will disappear the total match found message after 10 seconds. So now if I go in and copy this piece of code and update our main view.js, so here we need to update selectively. What we'll do is we'll be copying this function that we have from this point onwards, promise.all, and then all the way to main view. So let's go over here in our code, promise.all, and then all the way to main view, paste it, save it. And here it says that it's not able to find a couple of things which is mentioned over here. So let's copy this as well and update this piece of code. Now that's done. You can see the compilation is successful. We go over here. So you see the name, the gender drop down, and the search all are in same line now. And if I search for something like Beth and I click on search, so it says total match found 1, and you'll notice that after 10 seconds it will disappear. The message is gone now. So but I don't like the position where it was coming up. So the next set of instruction that we gave was the total matches found should be part of the title block in italics. So it says, okay, if you want to do that, make use of this code. So here we are saying return and then main view. So I'll be copying this and pasting it over here, updating it now. And if I now search for Beth and click on search, you see the title is coming over here, and that too in italics. Total matches found is 1. We are getting the result set as well, and the message goes away after 10 seconds. And now I'm saying that the gender should be prefixed with a male, female, or unknown icon. And for that, it says that you need to install font awesome. If I go back to our main view.js, we can see that I don't have it right now. So to install, we'll copy this command first and we'll go over here. Let's open up a new terminal window and go inside this directory. Then we install font awesome. Once that's installed, what we'll do is we'll close this. We'll be going back and we'll be copying this piece of information now. So we're saying fs search Venus Mars question. Let's copy this, and over here will be over here we'll be pasting the same. So here we'll say from icons, and it says that the fs search has already been declared. So let's see, we have fs search over here and fs search over here as well. So we'll be removing this piece now from here, and we'll just keep the one that we just now updated. So deleted some, and now over here the search icon is there, and we'll now go ahead and update the view as well. So you'll notice that it will introduce a function over here which will get the gender icon and then accordingly show the icon instead of the text male female, the gender thing. So here just copy it and paste it over here just before the return statement. So we have the function coming up. Save this, and where we are having the gender, as you can see when we are printing it out, we just need to put it in this way now. So here, instead of div card content character name, you just copy this. So we are saying character name, and this is going to be changed to this one now. So now you see the icons are accordingly coming. For female, the female icon is coming, and for male, the male icon is coming. So we have done that as well. Now let's go ahead and do some more tweaks. So what we are doing now is we are saying that on clicking each card, they should be taken to the details view. If I see over here right now, it's not doing that. So what happened is, if you see this piece of code, it was earlier a link, but when we updated the design, it was kind of changed to a div. So we'll revert back that thing now. To do that, we have to install router DOM, that we have already done. So the next piece is this. So updated return statement will be copied, and here we'll be pasting that line. So you see, all we are doing is just copying, pasting, giving some prompts, and then getting the code from ChatGPT, and here it has updated now. So the link is now here, and if you go back, you see everything is now clickable. You are able to go to the details view now. So that is fixed. And next, what you're doing is refactor the code. Now this is something which I like. What you can do now is you have a working copy of this, And now you can figure out a couple of things over here, like the search should be a component, the character portion that we have over here can also be treated as a component and can be used iteratively over here. So to do that, what we are doing now is we are asking ChatGPT how you can make this code much better. So initially it doesn't do anything. If you see the response, it says that whatever I provided to you is actually the version that should be used, or a refactored version in that sense. So it says that, okay, this piece of code that we have it's exactly what we have over here right now. When I say refactor, it's not doing anything much to this file. So just copy this and paste it. Okay, and here the output wise you don't see any difference. Now what next we are doing is, on the details view we are trying to put a back button first. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So it kind of provides you with the whole updated information. So let's copy this, go to detail view, and here in detail view.js we can put everything, and here we are getting the output character details, back to main menu, and all the content of this particular character. Clicking on back, we are getting this whole page now. Then what we did was ask ChatGPT that the back to main should be next to character details, and that also was taken care. So if you just copy this return statement and paste it in the details view from line 22 to line 50, save it, go to a given character and update the detail view.css as well. So here I'll be updating detail view.css as well. Paste this, and if I now go, you see character details, and then back to main is now in same position, in same line. Clicking on back to main now. The next step that we did was started figuring out the working components, and we're now trying to put them in respective files so that we can make our code reusable. For example, all the API functionality we are now trying to put in a file called api.js. So what it does is it creates a file api.js where it has got this fetch character by ID and fetch all characters mentioned. So we just copy this code now, and over here we can go in our src directory, create a new file and call it as api.js, put this piece of code, and next what we are doing is in our main view we are now updating this. So we are importing the fetch all characters from API. We're going back to our main view.js, and over here just after the DOM view can put it over here. So we have now included the API call, and where exactly this API is being used, in use effect method. So we will be updating our use effect method over here, and we'll be replacing all this, paste over here. Now let's see, our site is working properly without any glitch, and if I click on the details, that is also working fine. So next step is in detail view we are also doing the same thing. So here we'll be first of all copying this line and then this function details view. So copy these two and open up details view.js. Just from line number 5 to use effect method, we'll be replacing this. Save it now. Make sure that the name is correct. So here it's detail view. So here we'll be copying this line, paste it over here on line number 5, and then inside this method that we have, so we have ID and character, set character, and then we'll make use of the use effect method. Now the use effect method, if you notice, here we are having character ID and here it's having ID. So we'll just have the character ID as is over here instead of ID. Now if I go back, click on any character, we are getting the details. So now we have segregated the functionality. We are having the API calls in our api.js file, and the reference is now over here in main-view.js as well as in detail-view.js. We can further go ahead and create separate components like a search component and a character component, and we can introduce them in our main-view.js as well. So let's do that as well. Here what I've done is I have also taken care of the fact that if there is no value at all, we should be presented with an NA value. So I'll just copy this piece of code from here, and we'll just have it replaced in our details view.js. So in our view over here, you'll notice from name all the way to location, we now have NA available. So if I go to type over here, you see NA. So earlier it was just coming up as a blank, which was not good. So we have this now. Next, what we are doing is the alignment of character details class should be left aligned. So what we are doing is over here, character details, we are trying to left align this whole piece, and gradually we are trying to make it look more like what we have over here, image and then details. So let's go directly to that piece of code and update the details view.css as well. And this is how the character details page is now looking up. What we have done over here is we have created this first thing, app.css. So app.css is actually having the background, you see, the white and gray background. So we've divided it into two sections, top and bottom. The top is white, the bottom is gray. So that we created in app.css, and in app.js we have kind of just made the UI to make use of those classes. And once that's done, if I go back, you can see over here all the characters are coming up. Next, if you click on the details, you get the details view, which is closely to what we have over here. We do need some more manual adjustment, but we have been able to produce this kind of interface which resembles quite close to what we have over here in this finished product. And you see this background that we had white and black. Similarly, we have over here white and gray. Now, other than that, we have also created some components like character.js and search.js. So here you see the search component is now part of search.js file, and these are being used in main-view.js. If you go over here, now you see a search component coming up in the UI. So here we have the search component, and similarly the character component is also being used over here from the character.js file. So what we have done further, use ChatGPT and ensure that it provided us the component code as well, and we just created the files and pasted the code that we retrieved from ChatGPT. So here, if you see, all this information that we are mentioning in our demo video is actually coming from this ChatGPT prompt response. Like over here, when I mentioned in main-view.js create two components and import them, the search and character component. So it created the search.js and the character.js file and imported them in main-view.js file. And that's how we have created this React.js application, which is communicating with an API, displaying all the results dataset, and taking care of the null values, trying to mimic the reference version that we have over here without writing a single line of code from your own hands. It's just copying and pasting from ChatGPT. So you have been giving prompts, and based on those, it's kind of updating the whole application, and here you are. So in 30 minutes we have kind of prepared all these things, and if you want, you can deploy this to somewhere like Heroku and all, and modify it further, polish it up and use it as a base to further enhance your React skill sets.